Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of The Stash Report from the Stash Project. Today is March 16th, 2020, and my, how things have changed in the last week. Turns out that coronavirus thing isn't just a European and Chinese problem, is it? So as more of us get locked inside of our houses, I mean, not me and my wife, we're essential. We'll be out there working for the rest of our time until we either get sick or drop dead. Yes. And so for the rest of you that are stuck inside your houses, just appreciate the time you have with your families and the times you have to deal with your models and everything else. And quit your whining already. You've been locked inside your house for like 5 days, and it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better, guys. You'll be locked in your houses till probably June, so yeah, calm down. All right, so to talk about models, to take our minds off of current events, we have our kit announcements and our kit releases for this week. Starting in the announcement thing, we got the June 2020 kit releases from Aoshima, and feel free to fall asleep here because there's nothing in this that's actually new. All reissues. So you have the 2016 Toyota 86 GT, the 2012 Subaru BRZ STI, which is a slightly different version than the regular BRZ in the fact that it has a different set of wheels and a different set of ground effects. It was the originally released back in 2012 as the STI concept. It sort of lost the concept thing over time, and it's just now the STI with a bunch of numbers attached to it. Reissue of the 1991 Nissan Silvia S13 Rasty, the 1998 Toyota Chaser Turbo or Tur 5 Vertex Ridge Edition, reissue of the venerable IMA, not 124 scale, we're going to call it 124 scale Austin FX4 Taxi, reissue of the 1984 Toyota Truno GT Apex, which is the car that has the red car on the box art with the gold rims that hadn't been seen for a while when this kit was reissued last year, and then a reissue of the 1985 Toyota 11 AE86 1500 SR, actually technically it'd be an AE85, and that is the 11 that got poverty wheels and some decals to tune it down into the lower version of the AE85, because the 86 and the 85 are about how big the engine is. So, and lastly, we have in the new supercar lineup another old supercar, the reissue of the Lamborghini Countach 5000 Quattro, and that, guys, is the kit announcement. So we have kit releases this week, of course, and they are pretty much what you'd expect in terms of being a lot of Asian kits, although we did get one US kit. And as I look here, I have a chart I need to show you guys before I forget about it for the second week in a row. This was posted by Bell Kits well, be 2 weeks ago now, and I just keep forgetting to mention it. It is their sort of scale of where their projects are. Well, as of pre-coronavirus, at this point, Belgium is on lockdown, but we'll see how that actually affects things, being that the kits are manufactured in China, and China is, well, got on the other side of this mess at the current point in time. So you see up here on the top, Bell 15, Bell 16, those are your two Rover Metro SR4 rally cars. They are currently in production. They may be about to be loaded onto boat at this point, but right now they are being made. Bell 17 and Bell 18 are the two Citroen C3 rally cars, and they're in decal approval stage, but the test shots are done, so the tooling on those is, on its way. And then you have Bell 14, Bell 21, which say box art pending. Those are the Hyundai i20s, I think those are. I'm trying to think what the heck the actual name for the Hyundai rally car is, but that's in box art approval. So those are just in initial development at this point. Bell 19 and Bell 20 there are the early Opel Ascana. They are in CAD design at this point, which sort of kind of puts them behind where they were supposed to be, but whatever. I'm still happy to see them in production because there haven't been any mention of those for a while. And then in Bell 22, you see box art pending with a little Ford logo behind it. That is, of course, the RS 500. So its licensing has been approved. And then you see Bell 23 and 24, which are upcoming kits, which are working on licensing approval, which, of course, means we don't know what they are. So that gives you an idea where the Bell Kit stuff is in terms of being produced. Perhaps we'll get the Citroen out in 2020 as well. Maybe the Ascana in early 2021. We'll see where the Hyundai is in terms of them pushing it. because they fought for 3 years to get the licensing to do that. You know, so the Bell 14 is before the Metro SR4, so that's how long they've been working on that to get the licensing from Hyundai. And yeah, that's where those things are, and looking forward to the SR4s when they come out. So we did get one domestic release this week, and it is this, the newly modified Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. So we told you guys about this kit, of course, and it has a few things added to it to make it a little less Tomb Raider-y, but it is the Tomb Raider kit, the die-cast that was turned into a plastic kit. This has new wheels, new tires, new front bumper area, as well as a new roll cage, and it looks like the fender flares are also new because they're not quite as bushwhackery, if you will, as the original kit. This kit still does have the diamond plate tread on the bottom of the doors and across the back of the vehicle, and a lot of people were kind of unhappy to see that when they got their kits, but that would of course mean that there were entire, tooling sections of this thing redone, whereas this really, guys, like we said, it was tooled in 2004, and these parts have always been on the tooling. They were just never released for whatever reason. So, like I've said a couple different times, it's a day 2 Jeep. It's not a factory stock Jeep by any stretch of the imagination. So keep that going in, but I would definitely consider getting one of these, as it's not quite as crazy, if you will, as the original Tomb Raider kit in terms of what it looks like. So there is that. I do appreciate the fact there's no driver in the box arts. Apparently he just lost his Jeep out in Moab someplace and never went back to pick it up. We have some kits out of Aoshima. These are all just straight reissues, so we'll plow through them real quick here. You have a reissue of the 78 Nissan Cedric Gloria 480 hardtop Brougham here, or 280. 480 is the next generation. These are a situation where the grills and the logos and a few other things are different between the two cars, but otherwise they're the same, so there's just one body in the box. Then you have the reissue of the 1984 Nissan Skyline R30 2000 Turbo RSX, reissue of the Nissan Silvia S15 Top Secret, and a reissue of the Ings tuner version of the 2007 Subaru Impreza. So that is out as well. Then we have, also maintaining our focus on Japan here, some kits out of Hasegawa. These are also, technically they're all reissues, but a few of them are a little different, so we'll show you as we go along here. First up, you have the reissue of the Honda N360 N1 1967. This is just a straight restock, nothing new about this kit. Then you have this, which is the first-gen Honda Civic SB1, what they're calling the Mihwa Civic. This is another, obviously, version of the little minor touring car, race car Civic they've done. There's new decals involved here. Obviously, the livery is different. And then those mirrors on the fenders are included in here as resin pieces. They did not tool up new plastic pieces for it. Makes sense. I mean, how many of these do you really sell? And gives them a very quick and dirty, if you will, conversion to create another model kit out of something that already existed. So that is out there. And then last but not least is a reissue of this. It is the Toyota Corolla World Rally Championship 1998 Rally of Great Britain. There's nothing new in this kit. It is just a reissue, but the last time this kit was out was 1999. So this kit, if you're a fan of this body style Corolla, was one of those models where you were really digging around trying to find one that had decent decals. Obviously, there's a lot of white on this livery that when you start looking at the door placards and the driver names and stuff like that, it became very quick that this was going to be a little bit iffy trying to use decals from the original kit. So that's back out as Hasegawa continues their reissuing of long ago forgotten things. So that'll take us to South Korea, actually, for our last two kits this week. First up, you have this, which is something we've already talked about. I already have one. I've showed it in the either on this channel or on the other channel. I can't remember where this kit is in the pile of things I got in terms of what channel I talked about it. But this is the Hyundai Santa Fe 2018 model from Academy. It is a sort of basically an unassembled promotional model. It's about 50-60 pieces. It's molded in a couple, 3 different colors, but obviously painting it and doing stuff that's going to be your best bet to make it look realistic. It does have press and stick decals as well as a sheet of water slides. And the only real issue I've seen with this kit is the inner fender wells do not really fit the body, and everyone describes it as looking like it's been through several Michigan winters. You could see a lot of daylight back there, and it's one of those things where, as given to you as a promotional model at the dealership, you don't care. As a modeler, holy hell, look at this giant gaping hole. So I don't necessarily fault Academy about that. I don't that making this as a model kit, I don't think was necessarily their primary concern when they made it. But if you're thinking about building one, be aware that that gap is back there and it's pretty obvious. And then last but not least, this week is the new first ever really KA Models production kit. It is the Mazda K360. So yes, even in these times of crisis, with Korea being really under siege right about the time this kit was shipping, they look like they're sort of turning the corner there. Thankfully, they got a new tool kit out. So yay! This kit is interesting in ways that they gave you a lot of building options with it within the kit. There are the tailgate can be positioned up or down. The doors can be positioned open or closed. The windows can be positioned open, closed, or halfway rolled down. So there's a few little, as the Asians would call them gimmicks, because in the United States it's a bad term. In Asian cultures, that tends to be another name for feature. So there's a lot of gimmicks in this kit, and those terms. It's curbside, but it does have a pretty nice engine insert that goes in the bottom. So, I mean, it does give the appearance of there being an engine more than certain other curbside kits would. It's an actual, separate piece, so you can detail paint it without trying to mask off 90 things on the bottom of the chassis and things like that. And it's just an interesting piece. We talked about before, there were 250,000 of these things made between 1950 and 1957 and 1967 or 69. So it was a popular vehicle. It was more of a delivery vehicle than necessarily a, passenger thing. It only has 2 seats in it. I don't know how many passengers are you hauling around in it, but it was cheap and it became popular as a normal mode of transportation, as it were. So on the way out, I just want to know why this girl is so sad, and the dog, who one day is going to grow up and be a very large, very good boy Doge, is probably like, oh, come on, get over yourself. Dad has to go to work and he's getting in the wrong side of the car. So yeah, gotta find your own humor in times like this. So anyway, guys, that wraps up this episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys had a good weekend. For a lot of people, it was the last weekend you had, and we'll see you guys on the other side.